basically, we are going to see how the advanced version of visualization is going to help, or the twin motion is going to help us with the part of visualization and renderings sort of stuff. So, little bit about our organization. So now we are global brand Arcans India, and we are more into the part of integrated solutions with certain extensions with the IPs that we provide. So we are trying to integrate into a workflow sort of solution where we can help the things out or into the part of designing and construction with the help of technology so far. So we are dealing with the multiple disciplines like architectural engineering and construction, as well as manufacturing, product designings and all. But we are more focused towards the integrated solution as I'm talking with respect to the twin motion part. Coming back to my introduction, a little bit of myself. So I'm an architect by profession, and I've been using this twin motion from last 2 years almost. So I found it quite interesting and a good user interface orientation part where we can deal with the things very easily. We can extract out the information and we can deliver the outputs at the same point of time. So that's quite enhancing, as well as I would say when it comes to twin motion, as you might have heard of what Lumion is, it acts very same to Lumion, but the greater prospect to the twin motion is like it has an interoperability with multiple Autodesk solutions I'm talking about. So like if I transfer my data from one solution to the other solution, it can easily operate, as well as for this particular twin motion part, it has an basic uh, tool which is acting as a base platform would be your Revit part. So once you bring any of the model onto Revit and you modify it within Revit, it will take automatically sync with the twin motion and it will give you the result or the output accordingly likewise. So if I just enhance my entire model onto Revit and I auto sync it, at the same time you can see all those changes will be reflected to the twin motion part. So we don't need to do all those manual efforts which we were doing it earlier. Like we were trying to take the, if anything is missing within our model or we found something is missing on the basis of material, so we have to again take out the entire process. We have to again convert those process into .obj or fbx format. Then again we need to take it back onto twin motion for all those desired changes that needs to be made within the system. So all those efforts are being reduced with the help of Twinmotion because it already has an inbuilt capability of auto syncing with the Revit part. So once you import or export any of the file onto Revit and then you take it from Revit to Twinmotion, the things becomes quite easier for you to work upon. So one of the outputs that you can see on my screen is like an twin motion desired output. So that's minimum. It just took like 2 seconds to 3 seconds max to max, and it gave me a 4K resolution image likewise. So in this way, you can easily extract your outcomes, or you can visualize how my project would be at the from the beginning of a phase to the end of a phase during my execution. So you can direct all those things directly. So you can integrate multiple disciplines together and you can go for the visualization outputs as well. So that's where twin motion comes into play. So talking about our agenda today, so we would be discussing, since it has a limited sort of tool sets, I would say. So it won't be a big session for today, but I would be covering all those important aspects that deals with the twin motion part. So whether it is in the form of libraries, or whether you need to set an environment accordingly and how to work upon what are the tools basically. And most important part is like if you are working on any other system, so what will be the preferable formats you might be working upon to bring that particular formats onto a certain base platform where we have an synchronization with Twinmotion directly. So that would be a key aspect where we would be focusing today, as well as we will be detailing out the entire Twinmotion part, how to extract in videos, how to set in work frames, how to create and render sort of stuffs, all those aspects. And then we'll covering any question, and then we'll move with the Q&A session if you would have, or you can interrupt me in between, not any, well, not an challenge. Wherever you find that I'm going fast or slow, you can feel free to connect, as well as wheresoever you found anything is missing or you need to know something more about it, we can discuss it at the midwhile time. Right. So, so coming back to the part, like actually I have explained what the twin motion does, right? So it is an part of visualization. So from any of the disciplines, whether you are from architectural, structural, core, MEP, or product manufacturing, designing, all those stuff, so you can have a quick look at how the things would be for you from the conceptual phase of a designing to its execution phase. So it's an visual storytelling tool, basically, where it brings your our own imaginations and ideas to experience it at one's end. So it gives you the freedom to do all those stuffs and create a beautiful outcome as you have desired in your ideas or in mind. So likewise, you can see one of the background images. So it's in part of interior where uh, things, how ray tracing is being done, how light has an impact onto your building, all those things you can analyze, like how far the light would be going. So the major aspect of it is like if I use my base platform as Revit, one of the base platforms as Revit. So in Twinmotion has an direct connect with our base platform, which is Revit. So if I just set my location, times, and zones likewise within Revit itself, and so I will get in weather station data as well. So once I have situated that particular file, I have uh, prescribed all those particular formattings within Revit. So I will get those particular presettings onto the Twinmotion part as well. So once I have done everything within Revit, I have presets all the things within Revit, I would get a direct connect with uh, Twinmotion. So likewise, if I'm changing my ambience of environment, suppose weather or any other sky weather, cloudy weather, something like that, if I'm changing it onto Twinmotion, it will always give you a sense of particular attainments, like how far is the light going within this atmosphere. If you have multiple buildings within your surroundings or any sort of surrounding impact is there within your for your site, so you can also check those details out onto the design aspects of it. So it gives you overall an data, as well as it gives you an overall picturization of an view set that you are trying to create over there. So it's quite easy to learn. If I just talk about it, it has an drag and drop options within the user interface. So you don't need to do anything, just drag your entire library assets onto your interface. You can easily use them. So simple sliders are there as we generally use in the Epic game products. Like there are four keys itself: W, A, D, Q, and E, right? So from one you can move up and down your cameras, left and right, so far. So as you simply play the game, so you can say this is something like the gaming platform. Okay. And then you have certain, if you need to just learn it from the very basics, or you just need to explore the interface, you can go onto the Epic Games website. You can have their demo files, you can look at them, and you can start working on the simple tool sets as desired. So it won't even take number of hours for you. It will just give you a quick overview, just 4 to 5 keys from where to start and where to end it, and then you can explore it slowly and slowly so far. So it's quite easy, interactive user interface, I would say. Coming back to the main thing, like which other solutions do not provide actually. So that's the part where inbuilt libraries comes into play. So it has thousands of multiple libraries which have been merged with various other environments. Like you can see there is the quick Excel mega scans and sketchfab. So these are the parts from where you just get those 3D picturized image in the form of asset libraries, and you can utilize them onto your projects as well. So likewise, they have multiple collabs, as well as these are the like the inbuilt capabilities. So no other solution gives you so vast capabilities with libraries. Even if you're not trying to relocate onto the initial base platform, so you can come onto Twinmotion and you can explore those assets as well. You can place those assets within the surfaces and you can work upon. And then you have certain other tool sets which are really very important to create an environment. Suppose I have a building which is my centralized building, but I also need to develop a sort of surrounding within my site context. So at that particular point of time, it requires certain tool sets that can help me to generate those surroundings quickly. So that's where the environment tool comes into play, where we have multiple options like for scattering or paint. So you can develop your surroundings very quickly within the interface itself. Whether in the form of buildings, whether trees and plants, birds chirping, all those aspects can be done. Now coming back to the part where we have to play with lightning and materials and its effects. So as I said, there are thousands of libraries. So one of the assets in the form of libraries is in form of your material sets that you would be using, whether concrete, whether glass, or any sort of material, right? So it has in predefined inbuilt libraries of materials as well. Then if you do have PBR materials, like you can easily get in free. So PBR materials are something which works on 7 based imaginary images. Like it has 7 global aspects of materials. So like for example, you have a simple image. So a simple image would have an effect of height and depth. That itself would have an effect of I would say like uh, one is like height and depth. Similarly, there are multiple factors, 7 to 8 factors, which gives you the displacement options and other factors as well. Simple normal bump image. So likewise, there are certain 7 sets of images itself. So you can combine those image and can formulate one more material, which would be 3D in nature, which will give you the bump texture, sizes. You can reduce them or you can minimalize them as by your needs and requirements. So it gives you a customized set of libraries as well. So you can customize your materials, you can customize your textures, and you can place them onto your library assets as well. So that's one of the major changes and factor that Twinmotion brings onto the system. Then you have the Adobe Substance materials as well, where it would act at certain 2D sort of textures, but will give you an actual essence of how the textures are. Actually, it gives you a detailed versions of textures. Then you can definitely make changes with respect to daytime, years, seasonal weather changes, and alterations. All those things can be done, right? Now coming back to the part of integration where it supports multiple other solutions as well. So all the files from major CAD to the BIM modeling solutions are being supported. If you're going with the linear infrastructure part, where civil 3D and InfraWorks comes into play. So at that particular point of time, you need to convert those versions into either .obj files or .fbx files. Then you need to bring them onto Revit to act as a base platform. And then from Revit, you can take it to Twinmotion directly. So one thing which is required before moving with the Twinmotion is with earlier versions of it, it started with the Twinmotion Datasmith plugins. So for now also, you just need to switch with the extension and you have a direct syncing option within the Revit platform. But earlier it was not there. The direct syncing platform was not there. There was this plugin known as Datasmith, which was used to synchronize the data changes from one end of a platform to the other end of a platform. And then if I just come with the cloud, so it also has an option of moving down the things into the clouds directly. So you don't need to store any of the presentations onto your systems, but you can capture them or store them onto the cloud-based platform. For this particular thing, you need to have an access from Epic Games main login credentials. So that would come into play a head step for these particular things. Now, so coming back to the how easily it gives you. So right hand side, you can see how beautiful the image is and how realistic the image looks like, right? So if I imagine some of my buildings with some sort of materials, glasses, and such impact of lightning as well as environment onto the facades as well as facades onto the surroundings, so you can see how beautiful imagination you can bring it to the picturizations as well as picturizations to the executions. So that depends on the execution part definitely, but it will give you a sense this is the product that we need to achieve it out at the end of an overall project. So you can easily view those things, you can edit them, and you can create an HD 4K to 8K resolutionized image within few seconds and minutes. So it won't require a long time for you to sit onto your systems or open your systems and leave them. So now it becomes quite easier to move in terms of fetching out the outcomes. Right. Second is like it has an option of path tracer. So path tracer is something which acts as a part of ray tracing itself. So once you have a light, so how an light would be entering building or will be having an impact onto that particular atmosphere, you can govern those using the path tracers options. So actually it gives you the glimpse of entire reflection and refractions. So whatsoever is within the material, you can also get those impact of materials onto the surroundings, your building facades or your further materializations. So you can get all those impacts. Just for an example, if I have swimming pool, so it has certain reflections and refractions onto the water end part. So once if it is falling onto any of the surface, you can also get an idea of how this thing will have an impact onto the facades as well, how it will reflect and reflect there as well. So that's the main part to open a path tracer so that we can get all those reflections of either materials or the surroundings onto any part of it. And then further, as I said, as already mentioned, like Twinmotion can reach you to the cloud where you don't need to store your data within the systems, but you can easily save and take a screenshot like a capture part onto the cloud itself directly. So here's a small video that we have worked upon so long and we have created. So you can see the outcome, how beautiful outcomes does it gives. So I'm just playing it down. So was the audio, hello. So was the audio audible?
No, we didn't see audio was not there. Only
Uh,
the visual movement was there.
we
Camera move was there.
okay, so just a second, I will play it again. Just give me a moment. Hope that's good.
Yeah, now visible, not able.
Done, done. So likewise, back to an architectural all the discipline, but you can also all those federated details onto the base platform, which would be Revit, and then you can take those models directly onto Twinmotion for further more detailed visualization part. So where would these services enact? How would these services be enacting? As well as how an structural core can how is you is an structural core embedded basically. So all those integrated details also you can visualize it at the basic from the conceptual design and to the execution phase end. So this is how you can predict out the outcomes. You can look into the outcomes where the mistakes are, you can govern them. So multiple platforms are also there, but for the part of visualizations also you will get an idea where are the actual changes that are being required and how to accommodate them onto the designs as well. So this was with the part of vertical designing aspect. I also have an part with certain linear aspects. I will be showcasing them further. Moving ahead, so what is a basic roadmap to start with the Twinmotion? Right. So it has certain versions. So like each time you have an update, so you would get a newer versions of those updated parts with respect to the earlier versions of it. So similarly, as you can see onto the screen, it is 2023.2. So earlier it was 1, 2. So now the recent part is 2025.2. So 2023 is one of the versions which was used with the Datasmith plugin, and now with 24 and 25, it has a direct connection with Revit. So you don't need to have that plugin to be installed. So these are certain new features which 2025.2 version has, like it has an updated real engine which is 5.3. Then it gives you the certain other factors as well as like global illuminations and reflections part. Then it supports the real world lighting support. As I said, if you have a certain location within a Revit and you have given it an weather station data of a nearby locality, so it will just take those datas in and will show you the impact of lightnings onto your space accordingly. Most common animated formats that are imported within the system is .fpx and gitf files, as well as that is not an animated, but it also supports .obj files. So the only basic difference is like fpx is quite lower in size as compared to obj, and obj sometimes doesn't export the real textures sort of image, because it would impart whenever you take a model from a particular solution to the Twinmotion, it has a hierarchy based structure or a materialistic based structure. So if you have imparted a material with different identity, it would take a different uh, IDs onto the twin motion as well. So wheresoever there is single sort of material identification IDs, then it would take a simple one material itself. Similarly, if you have material other IDs implanted onto the base system, then only it can take. Right, so there is one part of it which is material based, and other is already you might have defined it onto the BIM system. So all those materials and its identifications. So once you do that, it can also take it on the basis of hierarchy wise. Then there are multiple media preview windows options. Like if I just need to preview my video before exporting it, so I can do that. I can play it, I can judge it. All those aspects can be done on the initial basis before getting a final outcome product. Similarly, nowadays it also has an import to Adobe Substances files. So if you have an access to Adobe Substances, you need to import those materials in the form of assets of libraries within your Twinmotion, and to create your own library assets, you can also do that. Then, as I said, the further enhancements are with respect to the local exposures, paint and scatters, which makes your work easy to be with respect to the surroundings and other parts. Then certain visual improvements with respect to the environment part. So these are like basic enhancements that has been modified, which was quite weak in previous versions of it, and now they are more powerful in the upcoming latest versions of it. Mm, this is fine. And so this is how you can see. So under the Revit itself, you have a direct connection with Twinmotion, and you have this open in icon, and then you have the main icon which is auto sync and synchronize. So once you do this, so it will get the direct updation, as well as once you reflect those changes, it will reflect back onto the Twinmotion part. So you can save that file in the form of hmm, Twinmotion, and then we can proceed with the synchronization part. So there are two options. One is auto sync; it automatically syncs. Otherwise, sometimes you need to have an option of synchronize, the bottom of auto sync option. So once you do that, the right now you can see the auto sync option has been graded out. So once you synchronize it, it will become green in nature. That means it becomes active. So once you turn update with autosync, it will automatically update onto the Twinmotion end. So here are certain outputs in terms of renderistic images. So you can see the very same building that we have showcased you with the walkthrough. This is one of the actual views of it, isometric view. So this is how a quick visualization styles you can set, and you can predict your outcomes as well. So this is one of the interiors, and this is for so this is with respect to the architectural background. Similarly, if you need to direct your MEP sections or any such sort of services to be integrated within the system, and you need to recheck them, you need to revisualize the entire building with services as well, so you can do that as well. So this is how it takes the minimum sort of efforts and give you the right way and direction to work with. So I would just be showcasing you one more video that I have with respect to the linear infrastructure, that we have certain landscape portions and other stuffs, which was the part which we developed for the India Gate area at Delhi. We just taking you back. I'm just playing down the video, yeah. So this was one of the outcomes of this software itself. And you can see the number of assets that were there, like lamppost, barricades, side barricades, and all those stuffs are being the asset libraries of Twinmotion itself. So nothing has been done onto the base platform. Like इसमें हमने कुछ भी Revit के end पे नहीं किया हुआ है. जो कुछ भी आप assets and libraries देख रहे हो, whether lamppost, lightnings, all those stuffs, fountain heads, other water elements, तो जो कुछ भी है as it is, it has been taken from the Twinmotion. So यहाँ पे हमें सर्विसेज में चीज़ों को प्लेस करने में इनिशियली काफ़ी हेल्प हो गई थी. So that was one of the part, and the entire system of working with this particular sort of uh, site was with respect to various other solutions. जैसे मैंने बोला, एक integrated part of solutions रहते हैं. Right. Then further, we have taken that FBX model onto Revit. Then from Revit, we have taken it to Twinmotion directly. तो जितना भी modifications का part रहता है, that is not within the FBX part. But when it comes to your site enhancements and other capabilities, तो वहां पे आप उस चीजों को Revit पे modify कर सकते हैं. Once you modify it onto Revit, you can see those reflected changes onto Twinmotion again. तो इस तरह से this was like three-way process altogether, bringing the file from InfraWorks to Revit, from Revit to the Twinmotion. So that was the major uh, part of integrating multiple solutions and taking out the output in the form of front uh, visionaries from the India Gate itself. तो ये एस्पेक्ट. तो यहाँ तक किसी को कोई क्वेश्चन? इफ यू हैव एनी क्वेश्चन, 5 to 10 minutes break, then we'll proceed further with the interface itself directly.
Okay, Nurag, this was and
Right.
we are generally working for linear projects like railway line. So
Correct, sir.
this is somewhat what I recall is like Google SketchUp, what you shown, showing camera and angle lens, material library using those things. But is it possible in this your Twinmotion to
Linear
superimpose your
infrastructure.
design on Google Earth like platform and give a look and feel through camera key if drive through or like railway
Walkthroughs.
line if we want to show with assets, electrification, signaling assets, and station assets, placing
Correct,
on
sir.
that.
You can do that. Like this, you might be modeling onto the Civil 3D part, right? Civil 3D
Yeah.
or InfraWorks. So you can export those entire assets based off Civil 3D to .fbx or obj, then you can bring it to Revit as usual, and then
हाँ.
you can take it to Twinmotion. Definitely you can do so. Whatsoever is your built up stations or xyz factors, you can
हाँ.
definitely input. The only part is like it should have in proper formatting, that's it. अदरवाइज आप कुछ भी ला सकते हो उसमें, ऐसा नहीं है कि हम रेलवेज के प्रोजेक्ट को विजुअलाइज नहीं कर सकते. वी कैन डेफिनेटली डू दैट. हम ट्रेन्स को आते जाते भी दिखा सकते हैं इन मोशंस, बिकॉज इट हैज दोज कैपेबिलिटीज ऑफ शोइंग. तो आप उसको रियलिस्टिक तरह से विजुअलाइज तो डेफिनेटली कर ही सकते हो. ओनली द पार्ट इज, अब सिविल 3D से मैं ट्विन मोशन में लाने के लिए फॉर्मेटिंग कौन सी यूज करता हूँ. सो दी टू सपोर्ट, एंड क्योंकि सिविल 3D में अभी ऐसा कोई ऐसा स्टेप नहीं है इसको मैं डायरेक्टली ट्विन मोशन पे भी सीख सकता हूँ. तो एज इट इज मेरा मॉडल जो कि सिविल 3D पे है, इट कम्स ऑन टू ट्विन मोशन. तो अभी इस तरह का इंटीग्रेशन पर्टिकुलरली सिविल 3D या इंफ्रावर्क्स के साथ नहीं हुआ है. इट इज ओनली विद द रेविट राइट फॉर नाउ. तो
ओके.
इसके लिए ऐसे ही करना पड़ता है कि बेसिकली इफ यू कैन एक्सपोर्ट योर डेटा फ्रॉम सिविल 3D टू .fbx और obj, यू कैन डू दैट, एंड देन यू कैन टेक दैट मॉडल ऑन टू रेविट फॉर एन इंस्टेंस. केवल आपको लाना है वो मॉडल, कुछ करना नहीं है मॉडल पे. मॉडल तो आपका जो सिविल 3D का है वो एज इट इज fbx फॉर्मेट पे रेविट पे आ जाएगा. अब रेविट के बाद मैं वहां पे जो भी ऑल्टरेशंस करता हूँ, क्योंकि मॉडिफिकेशंस अगर मुझे हल्का फुल्का कहीं मटेरियल्स में करना हुआ या मटेरियल की आइडेंटिफिकेशन चेंज करनी हुई, सो आई कैन डू दैट इन रेविट. सो वंस आई डू दैट, वो ऑटोमेटिकली आपका ट्विन मोशन पे भी अपडेट हो जाएगा. तो आपका जो री रेगुलर रीवर्क हैं वो थोड़े बच जाएंगे. बाकी रिस्पेक्टेड फॉर्मेट्स आपको सिविल 3D से में रेविट पे ही लाना पड़ेगा, देन यू कैन सिंक इट डायरेक्टली. अदरवाइज इसका दूसरा ऑप्शन है कि अगर आपने बहुत अच्छे से ही मॉडल बनाया हुआ है ऑलरेडी, इफ यू सी कि उसमें फर्दर कोई इन्हेंसमेंट्स या चेंजेस नहीं चाहिए, क्योंकि टाइम विथ डिजाइनिंग पार्ट वो ऑटोमेटिकली चेंज होते रहते हैं. आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड दैट एस्पेक्ट. बट इफ इट इज कंप्लीटेड फ्रॉम योर एंड, आप डायरेक्टली FBX फॉर्मेट को ट्विन मोशन में ओपन कर सकते हो. सो देर इज नो एज सच नीड ऑफ रेविट इन बिटवीन. तो वो काम भी कर सकते हैं, बट में सिंकिंग नहीं होगी क्योंकि डायरेक्ट कनेक्ट नहीं है ऐसा.
ओके, थैंक यू अनुराग.
We'll take 5 minutes break, then we'll continue with the interface. मैं इंटरफेस में क्विकली कौन कौन सी चीजें हैं और कितना इजी है वो एक बार शोकेस कर देता हूँ. राइट. So we'll resume our session now. So I will just be taking you to the interface directly. So if I just switch back to Twinmotion, so this is the real way to the site. So as I said, it's quite easy to use and it has minimum sort of assets, you can say, not assets, sorry, minimum tool sets. So on to the left hand side, you can see we have the entire library. So whether in the form of materials, vegetations, objects, lightnings, mega scan images, further environment, HDRI environments. So this is something which is working upon the HDRI images, I would say, high definition resolution images. Okay, so once you import them onto the environment, it will automatically fetch out the reflections from those images. It has multiple sort of color layerings to it, which works upon, right? Similarly, as I said, Sketchfab, Auto, Adobe Substance. So these are the embedded detailed libraries. Characters for human beings, vehicles for cars, furthermore tool sets and for developing your environment itself. So street लाइट्स होंगी, कुछ फर्दर बोली आर्ट्स होंगे, अदर फैक्टर्स होंगे, तो वो आपके टूल्स में मिल जाएंगे. एंड फर्दर दिस इज लाइक द एंटायर यूजर लाइब्रेरी दैट वी हैव, राइट? सो coming back onto the right hand side of it, so you can see the ambience is there, environment is there, then exposure is there. So once if I select any of the materials, you can see automatically the entire things or the parameters associated with the materials get activated over here. So these acts as in layers. जो ऊपर वाला portion है, it acts as in layers, तो किसी को भी आप off and on करके manage कर सकते हो basically. एंड देन वंस यू सेलेक्ट डाउन दी मटेरियल, कोई भी मटेरियल यहाँ से उठा के इंपोर्ट करके आपने रन किया है, तो उसके आपके पैरामीटर्स नीचे मिल जाएंगे. तो आप जितना भी डाया, शेप, इंटेंसिटी इनहेंस करना चाहते हैं, आप उस तरह से उन चीज़ों को रेक्टिफाई एंड मॉडिफाई कर सकते हैं. सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल आई वुड जस्ट टेक दिस कि मुझे रेस करना है इस ग्राउंड को. सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल आई हैव रेस्ड इट, राइट? अब इसका डाया कितना होना चाहिए, किस हिसाब से मैं इसको रेस करूंगा. सो आई कैन गो ऑन टू द एस्पेक्ट, मुझे डाया छोटा चाहिए या बड़ा, डिपेंड कर सकता है. एंड देन आई कैन फिनिश. तो इस तरह से मैं चीज़ों को मॉडिफाई एंड रेक्टिफाई कर सकता हूँ. मुझे इसको ही डिक करना है, so again I can choose for a particular dia and I can smoothen it likewise, like so it gives you the part of landscaping as well, किस तरह से merge करना है. So all those aspects are there. So you have seen like this was the major element of landscape. So these are number of tools within it. One of the tools I have used raise, then dig, then smooth करना, और भी further options develop होते जाएंगे. उसमें आपको intensity develop करनी है, dia develop करना है. You can choose those things accordingly. तो इस तरह से आप easily अपने surroundings को develop कर सकते हैं. So basic concept ये है कि once you activate down the tool, there would be multiple parameters which are associated with the particular elements of a tool. तो ये चीज हो जाती है. एंड देन एट द टॉप मोस्ट पार्ट यू हैव एम्बियंस एंड यू हैव लेयर्स टू मैनेज. तो एज सुन एज मैं किसी भी ऑब्जेक्ट को यहाँ पे लाता हूँ, मान लीजिए कार को ही लाऊंगा, तो उसकी एक अपनी लेयर बन जाएगी यहाँ पे. और फिर मैं कभी भी, मुझे अगर व्हीकल्स नहीं चाहिए या कुछ नहीं चाहिए, तो आई कैन जस्ट गो ऑन टू दैट व्हीकल्स वाला आइकन एंड पार्ट और मैं ऑफ कर सकता हूँ लेयर्स को. So I can manage those layers within my base platform which is Twinmotion for now. तो इस तरह से मैं चीज़ों को मैनेज कर सकता हूँ टूल्स के विद इन, उसके पैरामीटर्स को मॉडिफाई कर सकता हूँ, राइट? फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर मुझे इसकी लाइटनिंग कंडीशंस और चेंज करनी है या एनवायरनमेंट चेंज करना है, ओके, सो देयर आर टू ऑप्शंस. लाइक इफ आई कैन गो फ्रॉम हियर, मैं environments को चेंज कर सकता हूँ. सो दिस कैन बी डे टाइम, इवनिंग टाइम. तो डिपेंडिंग ऑन द पार्ट ऑफ लोकेशन यू कैन सेट, तो ऑटोमेटिकली सनशेड्स सनपाथ के हिसाब से मूव करेंगे आपके, राइट? सो फॉर एग्जांपल दिस इज इट, ये मुझे सही लगता है फॉर एग्जांपल. एंड देन फर्दर अगर मेरे को कैमरास की स्पीड भी बढ़ानी है या कम करनी है, सो आई कैन चूज दैट पर्टिकुलर पोर्शंस कि मुझे किस तरह से मूव करना है, कहाँ जाना है, लाइकवाइज. So on to the left hand side, you have libraries. On to the right hand side, you have scene and ambience with layers. And once you have activated any of the materials, its properties appears at the bottom part of right hand menu toggle. एंड एट द बॉटम एंड यू हैव इंपोर्ट ऑप्शंस। तो अगर आप डायरेक्ट फाइल इंपोर्ट करना चाहते हैं तो इंपोर्ट करेंगे। और अगर मैं रेविट पे जाता हूँ, सो यू कैन सी अंडर द मैनेज आइकन, ओ सॉरी, अंडर द व्यू आइकन आई हैव डायरेक्ट ओपन एंड ट्विन मोशन। तो मैं जैसे भी यहाँ से ओपन एंड ट्विन मोशन करूंगा, डायरेक्टली ट्विन मोशन का टैब ओपन होके चीज ऑटोमेटिकली यहाँ पे सिंक हो जाएगी। राइट, सो दिस इज वन ऑफ द इम्पॉर्टेंट concern with respect to the interoperability। ऊपर कुछ पाथ, नीचे ये है। देन यू हैव मटेरियल्स। तो मटेरियल्स इज कि अगर आपको मटेरियल्स की लाइब्रेरी ऑलरेडी है एंड इफ यू नीड टू क्रिएट योर ओन मटेरियल्स लाइक वाइज सर्टेन मटेरियल डॉक, तो वो आप इस पैलेट पे क्रिएट कर सकते हैं। पॉपुलेट का ऑप्शन तब आ जाता है जब आपको किसी भी चीज को मास में सराउंडिंग डेवलप करनी हो, या मास में जैसे ये मूवमेंट्स दिखाने हैं लोगों के, व्हीकल्स के। तो इस तरह से आप मास में जब काम करेंगे तो आपको पॉपुलेट के ऑप्शंस पे जाना पड़ेगा। मीडिया इज समथिंग जहां पे आप वीडियो के फॉर्मेट्स को एक्सट्रैक्ट कर सकते हैं एंड रेंडर्स निकाल सकते हैं। दर टू मेजर पार्ट्स ऑफ इट। एंड थर्ड पार्ट इज क्लाउड, जहां पे आप सिंपल स्टोर कर सकते हैं अपने पिक्चराइजेशंस को। एंड फॉर दैट पर्टिकुलर थिंग सामने वाले के पास भी क्लाउड का ऑप्शन होना चाहिए सो दैट ही कैन एक्सेस इट एज वेल। तो वो तो लाइसेंसेस वाइज डिपेंड करता है। एंड देन दिस इज लाइक एक्सपोर्ट। अगर इसी चीज को आपको फॉर्मेट्स में, वीएलसी फॉर्मेट में या सर्टेन अदर वीडियो फॉर्मेट्स पे आपको चाहिए MP4 में, तो आप इजिली एक्सपोर्ट कर सकते हैं यूजिंग दिस। तो दीज आर मेन 5 टॉगल्स एट द बॉटम। और लाइब्रेरीज के एसेट्स यहाँ पे हैं। तो इंपोर्ट में आप डायरेक्ट भी कर सकते हैं एंड देन सिंक भी कर सकते हैं। पॉपुलेट में आपको पेंट और स्कैटर के ऑप्शंस अवेलेबल हो जाएंगे। फॉर एग्जांपल अगर मुझे यहाँ इसी में कहीं पे पेड़ और इम्प्लांट करने हैं, तो अगर मैं आपको इसकी डिटेलिंग्स भी दिखाऊं, तो यू कैन सी हाउ दी डिटेलिंग्स आर। राइट, तो ये है। अगर मुझे और किसी चीज को पॉपुलेट करना है, तो फर्स्ट थिंग इज आई हैव टू चूज कि मैं यूज क्या करने वाला हूँ। तो फॉर एग्जाम्पल आई एम ट्राइंग टू यूज ग्रास। कुछ इस तरह की ग्रासेस मेरे को यूज करनी है। ओके, ताकि ये जो प्लेन दिख रहा है ये थोड़ा और रियलिस्टिक या मोर डिटेल्ड आउट हो जाए। तो आई विल बी चूजिंग वन ऑफ द ऑप्शंस। ओके, आई विल जस्ट मिनिमाइज दिस या। तो आप देखोगे एज सुन एज आई केम टू पॉपुलेट देयर आर 3 अदर ऑप्शंस, फॉइलेज, पाथ एंड अर्बन। तो आपको जहां पे ट्रीज से डील करना होगा, ग्रासेस से डील करना होगा, दैट इज वेयर फॉइलेज कम्स इनटू प्ले। Paths is something where you have to define the path movements for vehicles and human beings। और जहाँ पे आपकी बिल्डिंग्स की बात आ जाती है वहाँ पे अर्बन का पार्ट हो जाता है। तो आप क्विकली 3 से 4 बिल्डिंग्स सामने सामने दिखा सकते हैं। और अगर आपके बेस प्लेटफॉर्म में, मान लीजिए सिविल 3D में या आप रेविट में, सराउंडिंग को थोड़ा बहुत डेवलप करके दिखा सकते हैं, सो इट विल ऑल्सो गिव एन इम्पैक्ट ऑफ दो सराउंडिंग्स ऑन टू योर एनवायरमेंट। फॉर एग्जाम्पल अभी मैंने केवल ग्रास की बात की, सो आई वुड बी गोइंग ऑन टू फॉइलेज ऑप्शन। एज सुन एज आई वेंट टू फॉइलेज, दो और ऑप्शंस एक्टिव हो गए विच इज पेंट एंड स्कैटर। राइट, अगर मैं पेंट करता हूँ, so it says me to drop a model here to start painting onto the surface। तो मेरे को ये ग्रास पेंट कर, आई विल चूज दैट ग्रास। आई विल चूज द डायामीटर, मेरे को कितना डायामीटर पे ग्रास को पेंट करना है, कितने ऑप्शंस पे। तो ये इस तरह से नाउ यू कैन सी आई एम पेंटिंग ऑन टू दी सरफेस। मैं अब आपको इसके क्लोज बाय लेके जाऊं तो आप देखोगे इट हैज क्रिएटेड सच सॉर्ट ऑफ डिटेल्स। तो दिस इज वन ऑप्शन ऑफ वर्किंग विथ पेंट ऑप्शन। अदर ऑप्शन होता है आपके पास कि इफ यू आर जस्ट ट्राइंग टू वर्क विथ स्कैटर टूल ऑप्शन। अभी मैं इसको इरेज कर देता हूँ फॉर इंस्टेंस। आप इसको जब भी रिमूव करना चाहें तो रिमूव कर सकते हैं। एंड देन अगेन इफ यू नीड सर्टेन अदर सॉर्ट ऑफ ग्रास यू कैन मॉडल इट डाउन लाइकवाइज। फिर आप उसको प्लांट कर सकते हैं। तो दीज आर लाइक वेरियस डिटेल्स ऑफ एन एनवायरनमेंट दैट यू कैन प्रिपेयर विद इन। अब मान लीजिए यहाँ पे ही मुझे ग्रासेस की जगह ट्रीज को इम्प्लांट करना है। राइट, So I can take that tree down here. मैं ट्री को सिलेक्ट करता हूँ, फिर पेन टूल ब्रश को यूज़ करूँगा, और जहाँ जहाँ मुझे लगता है मैं यूज़ कर सकता हूँ उसको इसलिए। इस तरह से आपकी सराउंडिंग्स डेवलप हो जाएंगी। सो पेंट इज वन ऑफ द ऑप्शंस जहाँ पे आप चीज़ों को कन्फाइन करते हैं एरिया वाइज या डायामीटर वाइज। तो आपको इतना तो आपको करना पड़ेगा। बट स्कैटर टूल में ये होता है, वंस यू सिलेक्ट दिस सरफेस और आपने क्लिक दबाया, वो ऑटोमेटिकली जितने सरफेस में उसको एडजस्ट करना होगा वो ऑटोमेटिकली उसको एडजस्ट करके दे देगा। कभी कभी सरफेस के बियॉन्ड भी ले के चले जाता है, सो फिर देन आपको इंडिविजुअली उसको डिलीट करना पड़ेगा। तो देर आर टू वेज ऑफ वर्किंग लाइक पेंट एंड स्कैटर, सो दिस कम्स विद द foliage itself. Similarly, with other options, so they are yet to build the libraries for like trains के लिए अभी उतनी modified नहीं हुई है। This is more with respect to the vehicles, बट अभी ट्रेन के पार्ट पे भी फर्दर डेवलपमेंट्स हैं। अभी केवल इसमें एक या दो मॉडल ही आप शोकेस कर सकते हो। So there are like cars, buses, aircrafts, boats, trucks. तो अगर मुझे और एनिमेट करना है तो मैं पेंट के ऑप्शन को ऑफ करके स्कैटर के ऑप्शन पे भी चले जा सकता हूँ। फॉर नाउ इट हैज बीन कार, तो मुझे पाथ यूज करना पड़ेगा। सो वेदर बाइसिकल, व्हीकल, व्हाटसोएवर इट इज, choosing this, and then from here you can drag drop. So once you placed it, now car is there, right? Now I can set what is the density, what is the speed. So speed कम कर सकते हैं, डेंसिटी इंक्रीज कर सकते हैं ऑटोमेटिकली, राइट? रिवर्स में जाना है तो रिवर्स के ऑप्शन को टिक कर सकते हैं। कितनी लेन्स होनी चाहिए, यू कैन डिफाइन दोस, लेन की काउंट्स कितनी होगी, सो इट विल टेक द सेपरेशन अकॉर्डिंगली, likewise. So all those impact movements you can develop. So we have seen like library assets. I can showcase you furthermore certain library assets and material. For example, if I just need to have this road का texture, right? तो मैं मटेरियल्स पे चले जाता हूँ, कंक्रीट के किसी भी मटेरियल पे चले जाता हूँ, एंड यू कैन सी जस्ट सिंपली ड्रैग एंड ड्रॉप, कलर चेंज हो जाएगा, मटेरियल चेंज हो जाएगा इस तरह से। सो केवल ड्रैग एंड ड्रॉप का काम है, सिंपल। Similarly, for applying any sort of material, you just need to take that material and drag and drop. For example, if I need to turn this into a metal surface or something like that, तो metal surface पे डेवलप हो जाएगी चीज इस तरह से। So it will have certain parameters will be which will be associated with respect to metal, reflectance होगा, further reflections होंगे। As soon as I have applied in material, आप देखोगे रोटेशन, स्केलिंग करनी है मटेरियल की तो स्केलिंग कर सकते हैं, रफनेस कितनी देनी है, स्मूथनेस कितनी देनी है, कितनी शाइनिंग देनी है, कितना मेटेलिक रीजन्स रहेगा, ऑल दोज एस्पेक्ट्स कैन बी डेवलप्ड। तो मटेरियल्स के साथ प्रॉपर्टीज आ जाएंगी, उसके साथ आपके लेयर्स आ जाएंगे, सेम टाइम पॉपुलेट के साथ आपके पास एनवायरमेंट डेवलपमेंट के लिए पॉपुलेशंस हो जाएगा। सो दिस इज इटसेल्फ विद इन द ट्विन मोशन। बाकी इट डिपेंड्स ऑन वंस विजुअलाइजेशंस एज वेल एज वन हु इज यूटिलाइजिंग द टूल, एंड उनका देखने का परसेप्शन कैसा है। इट ऑल डिपेंड्स ऑन प्रैक्टिस। So these are only the three important parts. And one is like if you can see the path tracing option, if I'm just opening it. तो एक्चुअल में जो भी आपका स्काईलाइट रहेगा, एंड विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू दैट दोज पर्टिकुलर थिंग, वो रिफ्लेक्शंस एंड रिफ्रैक्शंस को कैच अप करता है। सो दैट्स वेयर the entire picturizations comes into play with path tracing options. So this is only the option with path tracing. So मैं उसको ऑन एंड ऑफ कर सकता हूँ। मूव, रोटेट कॉमन टूल्स हैं जो कि आपको ऊपर मिल जाएंगे। एंड वन मोर थिंग where it comes with the so for example, I'm again taking down this, and I need certain ambience like मैं थोड़ा सा इसको वेदरी करना चाहता हूँ, राइट। थोड़ा सा स्नो के बेसिस पे कि स्नो भी देख सकें, तो इन केस यू नीड टू शोकेस समथिंग विद स्नो, तो कुछ इस तरह का एम्बियंस हो जाएगा। सो यू कैन वर्क विद द एनवायरनमेंट। अभी फॉर अ मीन वाइल आई विल जस्ट हैव दिस, और मुझे इस पर्टिकुलर सीन्स को कैप्चर करना है। सो आई वुड बी गोइंग ऑन टू मीडिया। There is one part which is for the image capture and other part is for the video making. So if I just capture down the image और मैं capture कर लेता हूँ, so automatically the scene has been captured in 4K resolution। मेरे को किसी और एंगल से लेना है, so I can add that particular captures। तो मैंने इस तरह से captures बना लिए। So this is how you capture it down the images, entire images, right? इसको बंद कर देता हूँ। I can close this। Now you can see this, these were the two of the images. If I need to export them, I will just go on to export। So I don't need in video। मैं deselect कर देता हूँ सब चीज़ों को videos के part से। Images में मुझे ऐड करना था which is one of the image, और मैं फिर इसको start exporting कर सकता हूँ। So once you see the image has 1 and the video is 0, so I can export it। Then it will ask you for the folder। So this is pscom and writes। So this is generally how you export down the images. So, so now the image has already been exported. We'll check. Uh, let's see. This is the 4K resolution image that you have extracted just within 10 seconds. So this is how it makes your work easier. Right. Similarly, as you need to move on to Revit, so if I just need to make a video out of it, so I will be going on to the video section now, and I will be setting up the keyframes for this particular model, right? So I will have a new keyframe, and then you need to take certain more keyframes in accordance। मैं और भी keyframes certain 10 seconds में ऐड करते जा रहा हूँ, right? मुझे और इस तरह से घूमना है। I will have one more। I will go on to this। I will have one for, so just 4 keyframes with 10 seconds each, and then I can preview this। So this is how the video would be at the end। So this is quite easy to work with, and it's useful for extracting out the outcomes directly। So itna 40 seconds का है, and then again going on to export। This time rather than image, I would deselect all the images and I would go on to the video end। और जो भी मेरा latest video था, this one, I can choose this and I can start exporting it। So similarly, as I have exported an image, you will get a video out of it। Similarly for the videos। So this is how itself this entire platform has in capabilities for the visualization, simple tools to use, and quite an interactive interface to work with। So this is it from my end। If you have any questions, please feel free to ask।
Thank you, Anurag.
Thank you so much,
Now
sir।
I do not have any question because until unless I use
Explore
it,
it.
I
Yeah,
can't have it.
not an issue, sir। So basically,
Yeah.
you get an idea what it does, right?
Yeah, it's nice because in future we may have to present virtual reality models of any design to the client. That becomes a requirement. So
Correct, sir.
in
Correct,
that
correct.
direction, it's good.
Yeah. So now, sir, it
Yeah.
also has an capabilities to connect with your headsets, We haven't explored it yet, but
Mm.
this can be connected to as you said, VR reality, right? So that
Mhm.
can be done using those goggles, so you can
Hmm.
see those images beyond by as you can experience it at as you are into the particular space, you can also visualize those. So that's the further enhancements and additions coming on to the later versions of it so far.
Thank you, Anurag.
Thank you so much, sir.